I wanted to share with you today a recent find that I made of a cache of Paleo storystone face and mammoth effigies made from chondrite meteorites from a meteorite impact of over 7 million years ago, found in the Kumtag Desert in China. These come from the Kumtag Desert, a very hot, arid, and sand duney type of desert. Lots of sand blowing. They're heavily weathered, they're heavily patinated, and they come from the Xinjiang province, Kumtag Desert of China. And they have some metal to them because they're heavy, but they lack magnetism. And as we know, when we have a hot environment, heat will actually take the magnetism right out of rocks. In fact, if you have a magnet, you could have it at room temperature over a long period of time and even take magnetism out of a magnet. But these have some weight to them. And they were sold to me by a Chinese meteorite dealer from China. He didn't know that these were carved or that they were Paleo storystone face and mammoth effigies. However, as most people don't, because they don't look at detail. They just look at overall shape and they just sell them. But here we have a great mammoth. That mammoth trunk right here has been totally carved into that mammoth. You can see the etching lines there. We see patterned controlled etching on Paleo storystones all the time. Obsidian is a great example. Andara volcanic glass, though, that was used exclusively by our Paleo Indians only for the manufacture of these effigies. They did not use Andara volcanic glass for utilitarian wear such as spear points or knives. They did obsidian because obsidian was much more common, but Andara volcanic glass is a totally different atomic makeup than obsidian. Andara volcanic glass has no oxygen in it, and of course, obsidian is about 60% or 70% silicon dioxide, so it's loaded with oxygen. But Andara volcanic glass is routinely etched, where the etching is for the hair atop the head of the faces and also the hair of the mammoth, because as we know, each Paleo storystone has an old mammoth and a young mammoth depicted, and a young face and an old face depicted. Now, this tradition goes back all the way to 2 million years ago, as our Homo habilis ancestors were making these. Homo erectus were making these. Homo heidelbergensis were making these. Neanderthals were making these, and then early humans were making them up until the end of the Paleo period. At the end of the Paleo period, these were no longer made once the mammoth went extinct. So obviously there was a worldwide, I have them from every continent on the planet except Antarctica. They're out there by the trillions. They're the most common Paleolithic stone artifact in the world, period. Much more common than any other Paleolithic flake or stone artifact. And they're out there by the trillions. They're made out of every kind of stone on the planet. I have them made out of gold nuggets. I have them made out of citrine crystal, rose quartz crystal, topaz crystal. I have them made out of agate of all kinds, petrified wood, dinosaur bone. They made them out of everything, just totally everything on the planet. And they use controlled etching, patterned etching to image the hair. Not random lines, none of those lines that you see on the volcanic glass specimens that I've featured on my YouTube channel and website. None of them are random lines. They're etching lines put together in a controlled and fashioned, intentional manner to image the hair of the mammoth and the hair of the faces. And Dr. Michael Gramley and I believe that they use quartz crystals or some type of hard crystals to etch those lines into the stone. Now what we have here is a great mammoth there. That has been carved right in there, as we see, that trunk. But the cool part is, look at that young face, which is a bust with a head and wearing a shaman cap of some kind. Just outstanding feature of a figure, young figure, facing left. And the whole bust and face has been etched into this stone. Unbelievable. It's amazing the workmanship on this particular piece. Now we see the faces looking up from the back of the mammoth or underneath the mammoth, or even looking out in front of the mammoth or from the rear of the mammoth. Typically we see them from looking up from the back of the mammoth and underneath the mammoth, depending on which way you hold the stone. But sometimes we also see the faces looking out from the side of the mammoth. And then this is the old face that's been beautifully carved in here. Here's the eye carved, here's the eye carved, and here's the open mouth down below. And all the hair has been beautifully etched atop the head there. That's all been worked in Paleolithic times. There's no modern workmanship on this whatsoever, and no modern damage, thank God, because if there was, it'd be a very ugly bright silver streak on it if it were damaged or scratched in modern times. This is very, very heavily patinated material here. Very heavily patinated, kind of a brown patina all throughout it. Look at that older face there. Oh my God, amazing, amazing workmanship. So we have the older face here, and we have the younger shaman type face looking off towards the left, towards the front of the mammoth. And when we turn it this way, now these etching lines up here become the hair of the baby mammoth, which is the bigger part of the baby mammoth, the hair flare up on top of the head. I believe that hair flare on top of the head of the baby mammoth was nature's way of allowing the baby mammoth to enlarge its hair tuft up there in the presence of predators, to ward off predators, to make it look bigger. This is the trunk of the baby mammoth down here, and that's its hair that's all been engraved up there. Wow, outstanding. And then when we turn it this way, now we have the mature mammoth now facing off to the right with a big, this is the baby mammoth with its little trunk here, looking off to the right. And when we hold it this way, now we have the mature mammoth with its eye carved in here and the big sweeping trunk looking off to the left. Just outstanding. And then the faces on this are great as well. This eye slit has been made intentionally into the meteorite. That's been carved in there. This is the pointed nose of the younger face with his hair, or a cap, wearing a cap up above his head. Intentionally made up here. We have the nose of the pointed face with the eye, and then we have the older face with the big rounded nose now looking off to the right. This is its eye, big rounded nose, and again wearing a cap. Just an outstanding Paleo story stone face and mammoth effigy. Just museum quality, quite frankly. Then we have this wonderful specimen. Oh my God. Now we have a baby mammoth looking off to the right, and we have a mature mammoth with his big sweepy trunk off to the left. But the cool part about this is this full figure Venus figurine that's been carved in there. Oh my God, eye, folded arms, and bent legs right there. That's a full figure Venus figurine carved into this meteorite. Now I have another full figure Paleo story stone Venus figurine made out of meteorite from Canyon Diablo, Arizona, Meteor Crater, Arizona. It's a nickel iron meteorite. It's featured on my website and YouTube channel. And it's wearing a hat. It has the stunted arms, just like the first Venus figurine ever found in the Americas that I was fortunate to find about a dozen years ago in the Calico Hills, made out of agate. It's a well-published piece, been in many articles and books, and it's in Dr. Michael Gramley's most recent book of Paleolithic artifact types in the Americas. It's featured and pictured in there, and it's been in many articles, and it's also featured on my website and on my YouTube channel. It's the first Venus figurine ever discovered in the Americas, made out of stone. But this is the eye, the folded arms, and there's the bent legs right there of a full figure Venus figurine. Another one carved into this stone, just unbelievable. Now, the one from Canyon Diablo is also wearing a hat, as I mentioned, and has stunted arms. But the cool part about that one is it has a waistband that's been beautifully carved into the meteorite. And then it's two legs below. But that waistband, you'll see it on my YouTube channel. It is an amazing, amazing piece. And then when held horizontally, it has mammoth effigy figures with a trunk and all, and a young mammoth and an old mammoth. It actually looks like some kind of dagger, and it may have been made as a dagger, but it was converted into a Paleo story stone face and mammoth effigy by the time they were done using it and left as an offering. All these are left as offerings. Now we've got the baby mammoth facing off to the right, and we have the mature mammoth to the left. And then we have this interesting situation here where we have another baby mammoth here with a big hair tuft facing off to the left. And it has some type of peridot or olivine, maybe even yellow diamond, I don't know. It's some kind of stone embedded in the meteorite. And then when we hold it this way, now we have another mammoth facing off to the right, and we have a very mature mammoth now facing off to the right here, and also facing off to the left. So this side is very interesting. And then we have faces that are really great on this piece as well. We have, right here, we have some excellent faces. We have kind of an younger upturned nose face looking off to the left, wearing a kind of a hairdo up here, and an older round nose face looking off to the right. And then when we look at it this way, we have similar faces here. And just some great imagery on this. This is a great eye here of a baby mammoth with his little trunk here and hair tuft above the head facing off to the left. Just another outstanding stone, but that full figure is just really monumental. It's museum quality. Then we have this beautiful piece here. That's all been carved, all that mammoth hair above the head, the eye of the mammoth, the big sweeping trunk off to the left. Unbelievable. That's a beautiful image of a mature mammoth. Here we have the baby mammoth now with its eye here, trunk coming off to the right. We've got some very good facial imagery here. We have the young face with the more pointed nose here, and this is the eye, the square eye, wearing a cap again. And then we have the old face with the more rounded nose, almost looks like a skull type face with this, the eye, the nose and the mouth looking off to the right. Just outstanding. And then when we hold it this way, now we've got the mature mammoth here. And we have, this is the mature mammoth facing off to the right, and the baby mammoth here with its trunk down here facing off to the left. And then we have other faces here with this, the hair up above the head, which has been engraved as well. Just some interesting iconographics. Here we have just outstanding. Here's the trunk of the mammoth, and this looks like the devil. This eye's been worked, this eye's been worked, the big bulbous nose and the mouth down below, wearing a horned shaman hat. Looks like the devil. This thing looks like the devil. Eye, big nose, mouth, and horns up above the head. Just unbelievable workmanship. These effigy offerings from China are really, really special. And then we have this one here. This one here would be the baby mammoth now would be facing here with a massive hair tuft above the head. We turn it this way. That's the big sweepy trunk of the mature mammoths off to the right now, facing off to the right. We have the same thing here on this side, mature mammoth with his big trunk coming off to the left, and the baby mammoth over here with its little trunk there. And this is the one here I was wanting to share with you here too, because it has some eye imagery here, eye and mouth down below of a face that's looking at us right there. Just an outstanding example. And then we have another face right here. These two eyes here looking at us. And in fact, when we look at it at the right angle, we see that eye of a face and the mouth carved down below. That's a great face, eye, and mouth down below. And that is a mammoth now facing off, baby mammoth facing off to the right with its little trunk. And that's its mature mammoth with a big sweepy trunk. See that eye and eye, that's cool. And that's all worked there, by the way, and heavily patented. But the cool part about this piece is we have a face with this, the eye, the nose, and mouth down here of the younger face looking off to the left. We also have, and wearing a cap. And we have the older face wearing a horned cap up here, eye, horned cap, big nose sweeping off to the left. But the cool part is we have another full figure image here. This is the eye, this is the arm that comes down in almost a gift-giving gesture like the ancient Maya would image on stone. Although the Maya were only 2 to 900 AD, where these are over 10,000 years old because these were not made in the early Archaic. After the mammoth died, the tradition died with it. The worldwide mammoth cult tradition, worship, died when the mammoth died and went extinct. That is a cool eye, head, wearing a hat, arm, and folded legs, almost like kneeling. Unbelievable. Just some outstanding imagery. And last but not least, a great mature mammoth now facing left. Here is a baby mammoth with his little trunk now facing right. And then we have some great faces. This embedded stone is the eye of the younger face with its more pointed nose here and its mouth down here, and its hat's been worked up there. All these working lines have been worked. Then we have the eye, the big sweepy nose of the older face looking off to the right. Just outstanding. And we turn it over this way. We also have mammoth imagery on this side as well, which is the more pitted side of the stone. But I just wanted to share with you these monumental effigies that were made in the Kumtag Desert in China, and they're Paleo story stone face and mammoth effigies with outstanding Paleo carving.